It's about a British Army doctor that comes back from war thinking she's got PTSD, only to find out there's something more sinister going on in her house.
Over time, she realizes that she might be haunted, but in a very unusual way.
She starts seeing really weird stuff at home, and her whole environment is very eerie and strange. So her husband convinces her that she has PTSD, which sort of seems to make sense. But after the experience of taking pills and trying to make herself better, realizes that actually there's something else to it.
It has got a core family with people that you care about, and so you want to know what happens to them.
Nothing bad's going to happen to you. I'm here to protect you.
She's different from her experiences at war, and her family seems different. And so it's about coming together and trying to build a life after you've had such different experiences.
Did she change? Did her family change? What is her new role as a nurturer in the household? We care for the character, therefore we go on the journey. Therefore we get tense with her.
You will get what a horror film normally provides, but it's going to be in a slightly different way. You're not going to be disappointed, and that's what's making the difference, I think.
You did this all by yourself?
Mm-hmm. It still needs work before I'll be able to talk to you in Afghanistan.
What was exciting about writing this script was having the two ideas about PTSD and a haunting, and I think playing with that was an interesting process because it's subtle.
It dealt with a lot of issues to do with guilt over leaving to go for war. And when I first read the script, the film was called Transference, and it was a very unusual story.
Still working on that radio?
It's much better now. I talk to Daddy when he's asleep. I do like all the little details in it that like give away like kind of horror aspects. So it's like intricate things put together to make one big thing. It's really cool.
I like the script. It's quite rare to have a female-driven story that involves so much action and empowerment.
I think this family became a really intimate family for both Hank and myself because we really worked on and thought about the characters and all the specifics.
Look, we can just take the bus.
No, I'm sure it's nothing.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is.
It was fantastic working with Jennifer Nicole Stang. I think her discipline as a writer was really, really commendable. The way she followed horror rules throughout the script.
With this script, I think it was just, I couldn't put it down. I fell in love with the characters. I wanted to know what happened next. You could never guess what was going to happen next.
Izzy arrives back from war in Afghanistan, where she was a doctor, with the desire to sort of settle down, reunite with her family and her baby daughter.
Hi, Lily. I'm your mum.
Hello. Welcome home.
Mummy, you have to see what I made.
She really indulged in the substance of a mother coming back from war. And I believed every single second that she portrayed the character, even in the rough outtakes. I believed Jemima.
I'm not going to do a job if it's not going to be challenging in any manner whatsoever, and I was well up for the challenge of all of this is involved. Just before we started the film, we met up because we had a few days prep, so I got to meet Christopher Dane, who plays my husband, Rebecca, who plays my stepdaughter, and then obviously this Harry, little Harry, who plays my son, who is, he's just been such a star.
He really loves his mother. I like having almost like two identities. Just trying to be his mum and me put together, and then it just keeps building up, and I think that's really suspenseful. Can I sleep with you tonight?
He just got it. What he brought to the unfamiliar was a density. It was a physicality I haven't seen or imagined him to do. And he did it mostly without me asking for it. He did it on his own because he understood the script, and that was really impressive.
His performance is first rate. He has to go through so many degrees of emotion and have whole stretches of the film to himself. I think he delivers it very well.
This is my first feature film, so yeah, it's really fun.
There's no way I'm going to give up on you that easily.
What should I do?
Our bags are packed. Why don't you get yours? It's kind of character I haven't done before, and that's always one of the things I look for in new projects. We see an ordinary guy whose wife has come back from war, he's taking care of the kids, so he's a nice guy, he's loving to his wife and kids, and I think as an audience member you kind of just identify with this character. You look pretty stressed to me.
Chris is quite a complex actor because the role he plays is not an easy one.
Why don't you tell me what happened to you in Marja?
He had so much substance, but he hid it from us in such clever ways. He gave a truly surprising performance, and I loved watching him.
The cast, the crew, everyone in production, it's been quite a pleasant experience. Home sweet home.
You're making that up.
No, it's a real fish. I'll show you one in the lagoon.
She's an enigma in many ways, but that's why I wanted to play it, because that's fun to do. I'd never done a horror before, and so I really wanted to do one. And also, I'm not a huge fan of just like gory horror films that are just like one person dying after the next one.
She played a troubled teenager, and we knew exactly what she was going through. At the same time, because she invested so much in the character, you would know where she's coming from. And I think that takes real talent.
It's been so nice.
You come from the house in the forest where the road ends.
I wanted to play Auntie May because for me it was quite a challenge. It's a little bit different to what I normally play.
She studied Hawaiian mythology, American accent, the way Hawaiian sounds phonetically with a dialect coach. And that made all the difference. The authenticity of the role really translated in her performance.
One of the great qualities about Auntie May is that she is really driven by particularly love. And so taking on that role was definitely a challenge and something that I wanted to do. There's a pain in Auntie May, but also I like Auntie May. I like her vibrancy.
Walter Muir is one of the most talented score writers I ever had the pleasure of working with.
I usually often record kind of bespoke and unique instruments for soundtrack, and for the unfamiliar we also used Hawaiian instruments from seashells to bone flutes made of a real bone, and then I recorded those instruments and ran them through my modular synth rig, and then I amplified those sounds and then ran them through vintage and analog synthesizers and effects.
He put a soundscape together that I'm incredibly proud of.
Do you know that demons can enter people?
We used Hawaiian mythology, actual Hawaiian folklore that exists in Hawaiian tales, and I don't think an audience have seen this before.
They have very specific, unusual ghosts that reside on the island, and that was really interesting to work with Israel on because he was able to put that into a visual form which was very mystical and magical, and it was just pretty incredible.
I worked under the director's guidance for the creature design, focusing on bringing his vision to life in the most terrifying ways possible. Sourcing inspiration from old illustrations made in the days of continental exploration to urban legends that surfaced as late as the 1900s. As a storyboard artist, I helped the director figure out the visual language of the film. During the storyboard process, we decide things like mood, pace, angles, and action-to-action breakdowns for many of the pivotal scenes in the film.
It's the first time you called me Mum. Do you remember?
I started editing the film on location in London during principal photography, which means that I edit bits and pieces of the film as it was shot. And I think it really helped us to confidently move forward because we could see that everything is still on track.
Horror is all about timing. It's all about how you cut the film in the end to either leave the audience with wanting more, and that really, really influenced the cut.
Just remember, whatever happens, stay calm.
With making a horror, there's a lot of emotions that you get to take your audience through. You get to draw them to the edge of their seats and build the tension higher and higher as the story unfolds. And then finally, when you see the test audience watch a film for the first time and they jump at all the right places, it's a good feeling.
One of the most important factors of setting the stage for deep suspense is in what the viewer hears. It's even in what the viewer maybe doesn't hear. We utilize the space around us to purposely trigger movements or to purposely trigger emotions.
It builds tension, it shows subtext, it also conveys scares in a way you just can't do without proper sound design.
Setting up the timing of a jump scare is absolutely crucial. If your timing is off by just a few frames, you could completely miss that impact that you're looking for.
It's one thing to write the story, another thing to produce the story and to work with a great team, with your director, your writer, your crew. But the real challenge is to get it out there in front of the audience, because the biggest tribute to everyone who's worked on the film, invested in the film, is that it sees as many people around the world watching it as possible.
No, it's not that! Look, I'll show you, come!
I don't think people always understand how much work goes into producing something, especially if you are independent and you don't have support from a studio. You need to think outside of the box to make it work, and you are the solution to the problem. So you need to manage those things appropriately so that it will be a success at the end of it.
Working with Llewellyn specifically, he inspires everyone to do their best and work really hard. And Barent is fantastic. He really keeps the company in check, and he's just a pleasure to be around. It was such a blast.
I've always wanted to produce a horror film. It is such a unique storytelling technique and something that was quite a challenge for me as a producer, but also I think it was great for Henk from a writer-director perspective to delve into this genre as well.
Emma, where are you? Are you okay?
As a director, I learned so much of the medium in making The Unfamiliar. Every single facet of filmmaking plays a role in creating a horror.